Handoff, Henry. Henry takes it to the
And guys didn't seem like they was too interested in tackling him.
outside. Oh, the stiff arms.
Didn't seem like they was too interested in tackling him.
Outside. Oh, the stiff arms.
Didn't seem like they was too interested in tackling him.
Outside. Oh, the stiff arm.
Our mindset is a little different. I think we're going to try to tackle him.
Just in the middle of the back on Earl Thomas.
Oh, man. Now, you just seen, that was Earl Thomas speaking on the Patriots' lack of execution of tackling when they played Derrick Henry. Earl Thomas and the Ravens wanted no parts of Derrick Henry yesterday. None parts. And everyone's focused on that. I'm focused on when, back in November, when they beat the Patriots and they were the hottest team in the NFL, Earl Thomas stated, when the Super Bowl comes, whoever we play, they're going to be in trouble. He basically guaranteed Super Bowl back in November. This team was overconfident. They were arrogant. And that's what happens when you go 14-2 and you run through the league and you got the league MVP and probably the coach of the year, and your offensive coordinator is probably going to get a big job in Cleveland, and it happens. They actually joined another exclusive group of other 14-2 teams. The 96 Broncos went 14-2, lost to the Jaguars in the divisional round. The 05 Colts, I think Manning was MVP. They went 14-2, lost to the Steelers. The 2010 Patriots, 14-2, lost to the Jets. The Chargers in 06, same thing, 14-2. LT was MVP. The difference was when those teams lost, the margin of defeat was 7 or less. The Ravens got their lunch money snatched. They got bullied on the yard. This was a 28-6 game up until 4 minutes left to go, and they scored a touchdown in garbage time, made it 28-12, missed a 2-point conversion. And Trey Wingo said it best, this team offensively, they're front runners. And that's not disrespectful. That means they have to have a lead and sit on the lead and pile it up in order for them to beat you. They have to dominate you. They're not a team that's going to come from behind multiple points. They're not going to come from behind, let's say, in a 28-3 scenario or 21-0 scenario. They can't do that. And what the Titans did, they stopped the run. And Mark Ingram didn't look all of that healthy, but they stopped the run and they made the Ravens one-dimensional. Once they got up 14-0, the Ravens, they stuck with their run, but they wasted a lot of clock. They wasted a lot of time clock still trying to run their offense, and it was time to make adjustments, John Harbaugh, and, throw the ball. And Lamar started throwing picks. They started making turnovers, 3 turnovers, and that was it, man. And defensively, they had no answer for the Titans. I said all year I didn't think the Ravens defensively was that good. They sent 12 guys to the Pro Bowl. They had 3 of them on defense. I didn't even know anyone on their front seven's name. When you think of the Ravens historically on defense, their best defensive players outside of Ed Reed were always in the front 7. Ray Lewis, Haloti Ngata, Terrell Suggs. Even go back to Peter Ballware, Jamie Sharper, Saragusa. They didn't have anyone that scared you up front or just in general. And I love Earl Thomas. That was my dog in Seattle, but he ain't the same player. He's still okay, but he ain't what he was in Seattle, Legion of Boom. Their defense was not scary. It wasn't scaring anybody. And Tennessee just embarrassed them. And like I say, this is the humble pie that they needed. Marlon Humphreys went on record last night and said that we choked. He said flat out, we choked. The politically correct John Harbaugh is going to say, I'm proud of this team. And, whatever. You're not proud. You fucked up. This was the best opportunity you guys had to ever get to a Super Bowl. This was an easier trip than they had when they went to the Super Bowl the last time and won it with Joe Flacco. Because remember, when they won it with Joe Flacco, they had to go through the wild card and beat everybody on the road. You had everyone scheduled to come to Baltimore. You were going to host either the Texans or the Chiefs. You had beat the Texans really bad, and you had hung in there with the Chiefs. But, of course, like I say, they're front runners. They got down and they couldn't beat them. Excuse me. The Patriots were not in the playoffs, so this was the easiest run you had. And you fucked it up, and you don't know how good or bad you're going to be next year, barring injury. So you blew your opportunity. A lot of these teams that go 14-2, they never get back. Ask the 06 Chargers. The 96, it's hard to get back and to have one of these kind of seasons again. It doesn't happen often. So this was the humble pie they needed. I'm disappointed because I'm not a Ravens fan, but I wanted to see them in the AFC title game. I don't want to see the Titans in the AFC title game. No disrespect to the Titans, but Ryan Tannehill isn't the legend that Brady is. He isn't the entertainment that Lamar Jackson is. He isn't the accurate quarterback that Mahomes is, or the winning intangibles that Deshaun has. He's not a household name quarterback. And I know he's not even probably the second best player on the offense is Derrick Henry, but I was just looking forward to somebody going to Baltimore, and that was supposed to be the AFC title game. Rather, it was the Patriots, the Texans, the Chiefs, and the Ravens fucked it up for us. So now, whoever wins this Texans-Chiefs game is probably going to go to the Super Bowl. Not trying to disrespect the Titans, I'm just being honest, but Mike Vrabel coached circles around John Harbaugh, and the Ravens were pathetic, and they let everyone down. And, I mean, people were really crowning Lamar early. I think he was too laid back going into this playoff game. Even his post-game interview, he was real laid back. Oh, we'll work on it again. He was talking as if they had another game next week. I'm like, you do know this is over, right? This is over, my nigga. They just, they looked rusty. And I remember when they announced that they were going to bench starters in week 17, I said that was a fucked up. They were going to be rusty, or they were going to be really well rested. They were rusty. That offense needs rhythm, and they lost all of their rhythm. They didn't play week 17 starters, and they had the bye week. So last night was the first time they had played since December 22nd. So from December 22nd to January 11th, they didn't play a fucking game. And it showed, and that was the reason probably for their late start and being down 14-0 early. The Niners did it the right way. The Niners played their starters in week 17, had 1 week off, which is just enough time not to throw off Jimmy G in the rhythm, and they came out there and handled business yesterday. And they're advancing. But when the Niners played the Ravens in the regular season, one thing that stood out to me, even though they lost, they held the Ravens offense to 3 points in the second half. And I said, okay, we're on to something. That was the first anemic type of that was the first time that offense looked anemic to me all season. And I said, okay, so they aren't, the 98 Vikings or the whatever, because I've been watching football for a while. I've seen better offenses that were more sustainable than the Ravens this year. And I'm not trying to knock on them. I'm just being honest. I never thought they were guaranteed Super Bowl champions or anything like that. But people brought into it. It's kind of like the Panthers a few years ago, and they were dabbing all the time, and they were just overconfident. At least they got to the Super Bowl, though. And then when they got to the Super Bowl, they fucking wet the bed. But at least they got there. The Ravens didn't even get there. So, yeah, this is a lot of people are eating crow right now, man, including Shannon Sharp. So it's going to be interesting, the narratives that you see on Undisputed and sports media in general. I'm not here to bash Lamar Jackson or whatever, but they got to figure something out, because it's clear when you stop the run and you get up on this team, they are not the same.